I participated in LowResBones building competition, but if I was gonna compete with these amazing builders, I needed to go full try hard. The concept idea I had was to make a puppet show where a bird was being controlled by a hand above it. With that, we can create an artistic meaning behind the whole composition. This is gonna be insane.
I started with a hand, but for some reason I couldn't get the fingers to be right. So instead of doing that, I just scaled it up and then tried working on the thumb instead. But that's when I realized that I just couldn't get the thumb to be right. So instead of doing the thumb, I moved back to the index finger instead and tried my luck again. But this time it went way better. It actually looked natural. Next, I completed all the fingers and then I started moving on to the finer detailing. I really wanted this hand to be the best hand I've ever made, so I needed the proportions to be as good as possible. I went with a grey color for the hand so it wouldn't be too distracting from the main composition later. I started working on the shadows of the hand and then I went to the highlight. And with the hand complete, it was time to start working on the bird. It's always hard to know where to start, so I just made a random shape that I could do something with. Then I laid out the face of the bird, so I had an idea of the shape I was going for. But for some reason I just didn't like how it was going, so I moved it to a different plot, scaled it up, and then continued to work on it. The overall shape looked good, but the smaller details and the smaller shaping needed adjustments. And now it was time to move on to the hardest part, the wings. Usually I just use one shape to define the wings, but in this one I needed to make multiple feathers because the scale was so big. All the wings were made with loft, so that's why you see all the fire particles in there. Pretty much all of the wings were made with loft, so it's just the same process over and over again. But I always touch it up by hand because the tools are never gonna give you the perfect results. So now the whole first wing is complete, and we can finally move on to my favorite part, to copy paste. This is the part where we can actually see what the end result is gonna be looking like for the bird. We can kinda tell what the pose is gonna be, and the last thing we gotta do now is to add on the feet and the coloring. When going into the coloring, I wanted the bird to be the main centerpiece, so I chose the color red to resemble anger, danger, revenge, or aggression. Red is also going to be a very vibrant color that's going to attract the eye to the main centerpiece. With most of the bird done, we could finally paste it onto the main plot. Both of the main organics are done, and now I just have to tie them together. The strings really sold the feeling of being manipulated or controlled. I wanted more movement into the build, so I made these swirls that was gonna resemble dust falling off the wings. I had just practiced these kind of shapes right before the competition, so I was confident that I could make them work. but I needed something underneath the bird, as if the bird was landing in these clouds of dust, pushing everything away. I started with the biggest shapes, and then I worked my way down to the smaller ones. Right now they are completely made out of white wool, but they will be replaced with other blocks like light grey glass, light grey wool, deep slate and tuff. At this stage, I still felt like something was missing, so I added these huge rocks in the middle that I could put ruins on top of. The ruins really helped to create a vibe, like a wasteland without any signs of life. I did some finishing touches by hand to complete the ruined area. But I also needed to add some structures on top of the hand so it wouldn't feel as empty up there. As you may know, I am a member of the bakery, and on our Discord, whenever I practice structures, I rename myself to Davdi Structures. So if you would see me on there with the name Structure Davdi, Davdi Structures, or anything like that, that's when you know I'm building structures. Before we can call this build done, it just needs one thing, and that's some sort of blending between the sky and the end of the hand. So that's why I made all these small smoke particles. But now, let's dive right into the cinematic. Thank you, Lowres, so much for the competition. I had so much fun competing in it, and competitions are just the best way to improve your builds. Thank you to all my Patreons. Subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next one.